right, Nick, let's talk about the New Orleans Saints. The Saints have a lot of exciting news this offseason. A lot of new key pieces added to this team, but sometimes we lose track of the guys who've been there for a while and are really starting to find their groove. And there's one guy in particular who already really started to impress last season, but I think he's set up to have an even bigger year this year. Let's get into the article and we can talk more about who that is on the other side. This, of course, is from over on Who Dat Dish. It says, Rashid Shaheed has been a tremendous story for the Saints. After going undrafted in 2022, Shaheed signed with the Saints and almost instantly became a star once he got on the field. However, for as productive as he's been, Shaheed is only just getting started. He has tons of room to do even more damage, and that starts with being on the field more offensively. With Shaheed entering the 2024 season as a clear number 2 behind Olave, his offensive snap percentage should increase notably. With more snaps, Shaheed will have more opportunities to display his explosive abilities and make him special. That's great news for Saints because a scary reality for opposing teams and defenses that has already been struggling to contain Shaheed. I think that's great news, Nick. And, it's one thing if some reporter says this or if we say that, but the great analytical minds over at PFF also have noticed that Shaheed is definitely on track to have a breakout pace as well. Let's flip over to that article, and then I will ask you what your thoughts are. This from PFF. It says, with 2024 NFL season slowly creeping up, we looked at all the PFF data collected over the past 2 seasons to identify potential breakout candidates. This is our summer 2024 all-breakout team. It says, wide receiver Rashid Shaheed, New Orleans Saints. It says, as an undrafted free agent in 2022, Shaheed had breakout games in his career, but could turn that into a breakout season in 2024. He has averaged 1.6 yards per route run in 23, but his production was more feast or famine. He averaged 2.3 yards per route run or better in 4 games and was below 1 in 6 outings. So it sounds like there's a lot of room for improvement. It seems like with improved snap counts, Shaheed is ready to step up his game. Nick, curious what your thoughts on all of this are, but before we get to you, Saints fans, in the comment section below, I think there's a lot of really good answers here, but let us know who's been one of your favorite Saints wide receivers of all time. There's a lot of greats throughout there, but let us know who's your favorite Saints receiver of all time. And while you're down there in the comment section, check out the description below the video. We have a great list of some NFL books that we would recommend, whether you want to read a good autobiography about legendary coaches or learn more about the game of football. Just check out some of our recommended reading in the description below. But Nick, finally, what do you think about Rashid Shaheed?
He's one of these under-the-radar guys. When we go through the offseason, we go through every single team, and we're like, okay, who's going to become a star that people aren't paying attention to? And Shaheed undeniably is that guy. He's made a lot of big plays over the course of his past 2 seasons from very humble NFL beginnings, like you alluded to. But when you really dive into the data, the analytics, it looks very interesting in terms of how good Shaheed can really be for New Orleans. So last season, 2023 here, Shaheed finished 13th among all qualifying receivers in average depth per target, which means they're using him as a big play vertical threat down the field. 13th. That usually puts a lot of pressure on defenses. It usually is an indication of confidence between quarterback, offensive structure, and teammates if a guy's a vertical threat. Here's the part I really like. Shaheed finished 26, top 26 in terms of catch percentage among all qualifying wide receivers. So not only was he used to go deep a lot, he was also very reliable in terms of securing the catch, not dropping the football. Those are 2 predictive indicators for a breakout wide receiver. The one concerning data point that people are bringing up when it comes to Shaheed is that he finished 65th in yards after catch per reception. With a guy with his athleticism, his speed, his playmaking ability, you would expect that to be a lot higher. I think that was an indication, however, of a poor offensive structure, which will change with new offensive coordinator Clint Kubiak, who is from that Sean McVay, Kyle Shanahan system. And those systems, those offensive play callers, they really know how to open up opportunities for yards after catch with their receivers. For example, let's look at the Dolphins' Jalen Waddle. In 2021, under Coach Brian Flores and that team, Jalen Waddle, a great playmaker, yards after catch guy, undeniably so, finished 39th in the NFL in yards after catch per reception. Enter Mike McDaniel, offensive mind, from the Shanahan, from the Sean McVay tree. What happens? Waddle goes all the way up to 3rd in the NFL in yards after catch per reception in his first season in that new offensive structure. I'm expecting Shaheed to see a similar impact. I'm expecting his big play opportunities where he showcases his solid hands and his athleticism to continue in 2024, while also being set up with a lot of yards after catch opportunities like we see with the 49ers, the Rams, the Dolphins, and other teams that use the system. I think Clint Kubiak is salivating right now in terms of how he's going to use Shaheed, and Saints fans should be really excited by that.
Yeah, Nick, I would definitely agree with that. And I just think that Shaheed, he's always been great. We talk about his electric, he's Pro Bowler as a return man. He really, when he gets the ball in his hands, has always been phenomenal for this Saints team. But it's kind of like the article said, is sometimes he's been feast or famine. And I think now that he is really being recognized, or at least I would say not even recognized, given the opportunity to be a solid number 2 guy on this Saints team, I think he is going to be fed more than he is going to be famine. So I think those extra snaps are going to allow him to make more big plays throughout the game, because the fact of the matter, that's what he is. He's a big play machine. He's not as much of, your solid, slant receiver to try to catch it for just a couple yards or a third down. He could do that, but what you really want to utilize him as is that big time, big play threat, because we all know how explosive a player he has been. He showed that throughout his entire career here. So I think for Saints fans, when you see more volume, more passes being thrown Shaheed's way, I think he's going to really shine as a number 2 guy for the New Orleans Saints. And I'm excited to see him now being able to get the opportunity to move into that role.